welcome to my channel, Fine Dining at Home by Berries and Spice, a channel for those with a refined palate. My aim here is to show you the process of making creative and refined dishes in my home kitchen. In this video, I'll be making a dish of pan-roasted red cabbage that I'll serve next to some Gherkin juice Sabayon with Pommes Aligot and a Bonito flake fake bacon. So, let's get cooking! Here's the mise en place. You're gonna need some sesame seeds, some Bonito flakes, a bit of brown sugar, a red cabbage, well, a quarter, fermented gherkin juice, and I mean the juice in which fermented gherkins sit, some egg yolks, a potato, largish, heavy cream, butter, Gruyere, salt and pepper, and some dehydrated red cabbage powder. Okay, I'll leave that one optional. Start by rubbing quite a lot of salt on the cabbage and leave it until you're gonna need to cook it. I forgot to do that at the beginning, hence my face. Then, bring some water to boil, peel the potato, cut it into pieces or cook it whole, and start preparing the fake bacon. Add the sesame seeds and the sugar, let them melt for a bit on low heat while stirring constantly, then add the Bonito flakes, and, well, stir a little bit more until caramelized. They should look kind of like this, kind of brownish. Delicious. Now, simple. Add everything to a food processor and grind finely. Now let's make the Sabayon. Add the egg yolks and some of the gherkin juice together with some salt and cook that on low heat in a bain-marie until you get this consistency. Add some red cabbage powder and mix. And yeah, that's the moment I realized I had forgotten to salt the cabbage. That delayed me a bit, but still, it's alright. Baste the cabbage really well on its cut parts, both sides, until you get this kind of result. Then keep it somewhere warm until you're done with the rest. Now off to the potatoes. Strain them, add them to a bowl, salt them, add the butter, add the heavy cream, and, well, add everything to a bowl that actually works with whatever tool you're mashing them with. I have a special blender. Don't use any normal blender because you'll get a super starchy result. Add that to a pot on really low heat and mix in the cheese slowly, really low heat. If you're scared of burning it, maybe you should do this in a bain-marie. It worked for me and I was happy with the result. Just keep stirring constantly. And pass that through a fine sieve if you want to get a super creamy and silky result. Now, off to the plating. So, let me tell you about the dish. Last week I went to visit my friend Igor at his amazing restaurant Noble Savage in Vienna, and out of the 8 courses that I tried, 2 of them particularly stuck with me. One of them was pan-roasted cabbage, green cabbage, served with a langoustine butter and a lot of yuzu zest. And the other one was a pithivier, filled with tongue, with Gruyere cheese, parsnip and leek, and served with a gherkin water sauce. And I thought that pithivier was for sure one of the best dishes I've tried this year, if not in my whole life. I told him at that point that I was gonna borrow his ideas, and this is how the dish came to be. I used red cabbage mostly because I wanted a pop of color, and also I wanted to add a bit of color to the Sabayon. So what I ended up using was dehydrated red cabbage powder, which is actually really easy to make. So you basically just take a couple of leaves, maybe the ones that you would otherwise discard because they're not particularly beautiful, and then you dehydrate them in the oven at a really low temperature, or if you have a dehydrator like I do, then use that. And then just grind that into a fine powder. As you saw, I actually just passed that through a fine sieve so that I would actually discard the large pieces because they're not particularly nice. The potatoes aligot, I had them at a bistro in Bucharest that unfortunately closed. But I had them for the first time about a year and a half ago, served with a really lovely piece of Wagyu steak. And I really like that, so thank you Chef Dragoș Radu for the inspiration on that one. When I started making them, I started watching some YouTube videos to figure out how other people make them. I wasn't quite happy and I wanted to double check it against, my most trusted sources. So my most trusted source is always the La Ruse Gastronomique. 1,205 pages full of fantastic recipes and techniques. And I checked the recipe there, of course, I found it on page 8 even. I saw that the recipe also used garlic, and I decided to skip it because I just felt like it wouldn't fit in this dish, especially since the Sabayon is super rich and very, very intense in flavor. As for the Bonito bacon, I saw the recipe on MasterChef Australia a few years ago and I really liked the idea. So I've actually been making this pretty regularly in my kitchen and I really love it. It goes well with a lot of things. I can't quite remember when I decided to add this element to this dish, but I do believe it was a lingering thought of Igor's langoustine butter, which was just so delicious. Now, let's talk a little bit about fermentation. You'll see it's a big thing in my kitchen, and if you pay a lot of attention to the dishes that you get in fine dining restaurants, you'll notice that a lot of elements are fermented. And fermentation has been around us since the dawn of time. We've been preserving ingredients that way for a really, really, really long time. If you come from Eastern Europe like I do, your grandparents or parents have probably been preparing fermented vegetables every single autumn in huge barrels, enough to feed the whole family, all their friends, and all their neighbors. And somehow I feel like that's kind of put people off fermentation. But you don't need to do it in such large batches. I've been fermenting everything. Okay, I must admit, I'm probably a little bit addicted to fermentation at the moment. But you can do it in really small batches, so I'll leave a couple of videos because I'd really like you to explore this technique a little bit more, because you can come up with such great recipes and such great ingredients and just explore a whole new dimension of flavor. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video further. And I'll see you next time. Bye!